A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Tim Collins and his friend Mushnosky on their trip to the Tennacombe Towboat Company dock. It is only a few minutes past noon, and the young fireman, off duty until tomorrow, is about to have his first lesson in the use of the rescue company's diving apparatus. We'll meet Tim Collins as soon as you've heard this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the quarters of the rescue company, where you remember only a moment ago, Tim Collins learned the true nature of the fishing trip Private Mushnosky has invited him to take. As soon as the 12 o'clock signal is tapped in on the firehouse call bell.
12 o'clock!
Well, we're off duty, Mushnosky. Now, let's see that fishing tackle you've been holding out on me.
You got your swimming trunks?
Yeah, right here. But now, come on. Break down and give a man a line on what this is all about, will you? What are we going to do? Jump in and swim after these fish?
What would you say if I said yes?
I'd say you were smoke happy.
All right, I'm smoke happy. You're going to jump into that water, and any fish we catch, you're going to swim after them.
Oh, now listen, if you think I'm going to make a sap out of myself, and in front of Chief Cody, too,
The chief?
Yeah, that's what I said, the chief. Captain Jellybone said Chief Cody's going to meet us at the dock. So if you think I'm going to make
we better get rolling, kid. Come on, help me load the tackle into my jalopy.
All right, if you can't carry a couple of fishing poles. Now, where's this tackle?
Here in the storage locker. Prop the door open, will you?
Yeah, okay. Hey, what's that stuff? That's a pump. A hand pump. Or is it?
It is.
Huh?
Give me a hand here, Hooksy.
Yeah.
There, all right. Let it rest.
What's this for?
This air pump?
Yeah.
Can't go fishing. Not our way without an air pump.
Oh, now I get it.
Here, take the kettle.
Yeah, kettle your foot. That's a diving helmet.
Well, what do you know? The kid's catching on.
Well, I'll be hanged. You're going to show me how to dive.
You're going to show me how to dive.
Huh?
I'm going to stay up on dock and pump air through that hose to your helmet.
Oh, but I never had one of these helmets on in my life.
You're in the rescue company now, my boy. Never know when you'll be working 1,000 feet up in the air or a couple of fathoms underwater. Diving's part of your job. And it's time you learned how.
Yeah, but I... Oh, good grief, what next?
Grab those lead boots and the weights for your harness. Now, come on, let's load up my car and get down to the dock. We don't want to keep Chief Cody waiting.
When they reach the waterfront, Mushnosky pulls up at the offices of the Tennacombe Towboat Company. When Tim says,
Hey, look, there's Chief Cody waiting in the doorway.
Got a here ahead of us at that,
Yeah.
huh? We'll pick him up.
Been waiting long, Chief Cody?
No, I just got here, boys. Where are you going to change into your swim trunks, Colin?
Oh, gee, I never thought of that.
Well, go into Tennacombe's office. He says you can change in there.
Yeah, all right, Chief. Won't take me a minute.
When he's ready, you can drive right out to the end of the dock, Mushnosky.
Sure, no need to walk all that way. Here, let me help you with that sack.
All right, I can lift it. Just drop it here in the back with the diving gear.
Hey, that must weigh 50 pounds.
Yeah, all of that, Mushnosky.
Sounds like chunks of iron.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Not that I go nosing around, see, sticking my beak into somebody else's business, but a burlap sack full of scrap iron. Chief, you're not going into the junk business.
No. That scrap iron is just bait.
Bait?
Yep, going to do a little fishing myself with this.
A horseshoe on the end of a half-mile of line?
This is no horseshoe. Here, see what happens when you hold it near the door of your car.
Let's see. Nothing happened.
A little closer.
Like this? Hey! Hey, it jumped. Hey, I can't almost pull it loose.
It's a magnet, Mushnosky.
Magnet?
Yeah.
That's the biggest magnet I ever saw, next to one of those big electromagnets. What do you want with a magnet, Chief?
All set, Chief. What do you say, Mush? Time we got rolling?
Yeah, sure. But Chief Cody, what...
You'll find out when the time comes, Mushnosky. First, let's give Collins his diving lesson, and then we'll start fishing with my magnet. All right, jump in here, Collins.
Yes, sir. Hey, this is like walking in a nightmare, Mush. These are the heaviest shoes I ever had on.
Well, they won't be so heavy when you get down there under the water, kid.
Hold steady, Collins. Let me test this buckle on your harness.
Yes, sir. Are you sure I need all these weights around my middle, Mush?
Well, not for a little dive like this, maybe, but might as well get used to them.
Well, you're all set now, boy. Lifeline so we can haul you out if we have to. Now, give a tug on the line when you're coming up so we can reel in the hose, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir. And you'll tug on the line to give me signal.
Now, you're not going to like that mud and muck down there, kid. Just keep moving and you won't sink.
Uh-huh.
After you leave the ladder, I mean. You're okay while you're still hanging on to the ladder.
I see. All right, I got it. Ready for the helmet now.
I'll help him with the helmet, Mushnosky. You want to start that pump? Feed him air through the hose.
Coming right up, Chief.
All right.
Don't start down the ladder till we get the air flowing steady.
Yeah. Gee, if I ever forget and bend over to pick up something...
You fill the helmet with water. You'd better slide out of it and come up fast.
Yes, sir.
All right, now. Easy. Here it comes. Down over your head.
Yeah, now, let me get a grip on the edge. Yeah, while you straighten out the...
I can't hear you, Collins. Don't try to talk.
Is he getting air okay, Chief?
Are you getting air? He's all right, Mushnosky. He nods his head.
Get him started on the ladder, Chief.
Let's go, Collins. Yeah. He's on his way, Mushnosky.
Keep those lines clear, Chief. Don't want his air hose to get cramped.
Line's all clear. He's at the water line. Just his helmet showing. There he goes. Down to the bottom of the ladder.
I can feel it in the pump.
Yeah.
Pressure's gone up. Can you still see him?
Just a blur. That water's pretty thick. There he goes. He's moving away from the dock.
Good kid. There's some fellas hang on to the ladder so you couldn't pry him loose with a chisel. First time down, I mean.
Yeah. How's the pump?
Smooth as silk. How's Colin?
He's taking a walk for himself. Hey, he takes to this diving like
a fish to water, huh?
Yeah.
Better call him back.
Oh, he's been down long enough?
For the first time, Chief. Give him a tug on the line.
All right. That does it. He got the signal. Here he comes. Back to the ladder. Yeah, now I can see him. His helmet's coming up.
Get him up here and give him a rest. Well, he takes 10. You can tell us what that magnet's for, huh, Chief? You got me so curious, honest. My brain is itchy.
There's no doubt you can take care of yourself underwater, Collins.
Gee, Chief, if I'd ever guessed it was such fun, I'd have been down there long ago.
Fun, huh? It isn't fun all the time, Hooksy. Not when you're down there looking for some car, maybe, that went into the river. You gotta find it fast and open it up and maybe haul somebody out.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You gotta move fast, but underwater you just can't, huh?
Well, that's what I'm puzzling about, boys. That's why I want to try fishing with a magnet.
Hey, you got something, Chief. You chucked that magnet down into the water. Where something sunk, only it's all muddy and murky.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. What about the grappling irons? Don't they find what you're looking for?
Yes, in time. But I want to find out if we should use a magnet besides the irons. Maybe it can save us time.
Sure, if it locates things any faster.
Well, let's find out.
All right, are you rested, son?
Yes,
what do you
sir.
think, Miss Nelson?
Well, he's okay for another short run, Chief.
All right, good. Then let's throw these pieces of scrap iron overboard, just to be sure there's something for the magnet to find, huh?
Yeah, I'll chuck him in. Heads up, fishes. Look out below.
Scatter them around, Wisnowski. Scatter them.
Chief, there's so much junk lying around down there. There's no knowing what your magnet might find.
Well, whatever it locates, you bring it up, Collins. This fishing trip may turn out to be more important than we think.
Chief Cody doesn't know it yet, because he means only to test his idea that a powerful magnet on the end of a line can save the rescue company precious minutes in locating sunken objects. But Tim's next dive will have exciting consequences and will lead to thrilling adventure, as you'll hear in our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now here's Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Chief Cody. And I've got a question for you. How often do you see cars and trucks parked near fire hydrants? Parked near enough to block the way if an engine should be called to the scene of a nearby fire. Now remember, seconds count in preventing the spread of a fire. And when you see a car parked too near a hydrant, you know someone has carelessly created a dangerous fire hazard. Well, that's all for now. You'll hear from me soon.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go! Let's go! Firefighters!
In just a moment, X-1. But first, how does one man get himself into so many impossible situations? Well, this is a question you'll probably ask yourself tomorrow night when you follow another hilarious misadventure of Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. Yes, Gildy's eye for the ladies and his impulsive temperament managed to entangle him in a web of riotous circumstances. Be sure to join the romantic water commissioner, his neighbors, Judge Hooker, Mr. Peavy, and all the loyal Gildersleeve household as they romp through another episode of The Great Gildersleeve tomorrow night. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
X-1 salutes our Philadelphia station. Its new call letters, WRCV.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of a future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight's story, Skulking Permit, by Robert Sheckley.
August 16th, year 2204. 2. Central Colonial Administrative Authority, Alpha Centauri Sector. From Colonial Contact Inspector 37. Subject, Planet New Delaware. Following the procedure outlined in Manual for Contact with Lost Colonies, open communication by interstellar radio with New Delaware. This is the first contact established in 200 years. And proceeding on overdrive for personal investigation, situation on New Delaware appears unconventional, to say the least.
Hi there. Hi, Billy.
Hi, Tom.
Got no time for talking this morning. Got to get this sign up.
It's a real pretty sign. No aliens allowed within city limits. What's an alien?
Beats me. The mayor told me to put it up. He says to me, Billy Painter, you're chief of police, so I want you to paint me a big sign and set it right in front of the town hall.
Aliens. Aliens. Oh, it's a real pretty word.
Billy Painter, I thought I told you.
Take it easy, Mayor. I put the sign up.
It's not that, it's the church.
I painted it just like you told me.
I know, but you painted it wrong.
I painted that church with a nice bright red. What's wrong with that?
I looked it up. It's a little red schoolhouse, not church house. Churches are supposed to be white.
Can't keep track of them all. Schoolhouse, church house, jail, post office. Got along fine enough in New Delaware for 200 years without them.
I know, but we need them now, and we haven't got much time. Where are the carpenter boys?
I saw Sam and Marv over at Ed Beer's Tavern.
Well, Billy, you go down there and tell them that they've got to build us a little schoolhouse, and you paint it red. It's very important.
Mayor, when do I get a police chief badge? I read that a police chief always gets a badge.
Make yourself one. Now go on.
All right, then.
Oh, it sure is hot here. I don't know why the inspector couldn't have come in winter. Oh, Tom Fisher.
Yeah?
Tom, I've got a job for you, a very important job.
Well, now, look, Mayor, I'm on vacation. Fish won't be back in these waters.
No vacation, not now. He's due any day. Tom, how would you like to be a criminal?
I don't know. What's a criminal?
Well, come over to my house and I'll explain. I've got to appoint a criminal, and it looks to me like you're it. You don't mind sitting right next to the interstellar radio, do you? I'm waiting for a call.
Thought that thing was broken.
No, it wasn't broken. My father told me always to leave the monitor on recording in case. Just didn't seem to be anybody calling, not for 200 years. Not since that war back on Earth. It's time now. You just listen, Tom. They said that they would call just at this time.
New Delaware, do you hear me? New Delaware, come in immediately.
Yes, we hear you. He's very touchy.
This is Colonial Inspector 37. As I told you in my broadcast yesterday, there's been no contact with the outer colonies for some centuries due to unsettled conditions here. But that's over, except for a little mopping up. Now, New Delaware is still a colony of Earth and subject to her laws. Do you acknowledge that status?
Oh, yes. We called a town meeting last night and talked it all over. We're still loyal to Earth.
Excellent. That saves us the trouble of sending an expeditionary force to reconquer you. However, as Colonial Contact Inspector, I will be obliged to make a personal investigation to make sure that you conform fully to the customs, institutions, and traditions of Imperial Earth.
Imperial? That's funny. All the books talk about Earth as a united democracy.
Well, a lot can change in 200 years. And, of course, there's been a war.
Do you hear me, New Delaware?
Oh, yes, sir. We hear you.
You realize, of course, there is room for only one intelligent species in the universe. Man. All others must be suppressed, wiped out. We can tolerate no aliens. I'm sure you understand, General.
I'm not a general. I'm a mayor.
You're in charge, aren't you?
Yes.
Then you're a general. I'll be sure you're running an Earth colony, General, with no radical departures from the norm, such as free will, free speech, free elections, or anything else on the proscribed list. It is impossible to administer an empire where everyone does as he pleases. Get your colony in order, General. I will call to inspect you in exactly 1 week. That is all.
Well, you see how it is, Tom. Now, Tom, about your job. I'm appointing you town criminal.
I don't see why there has to be a criminal.
That's a very important part of Earth society. All the books say so, Tom. The criminal is as important as the postman or the police chief. He works against society. If you don't have people working against society, how can you have people working for it? How can there be any more important job?
I don't want to do it.
Now, be reasonable, Tom. Put yourself in my position. This inspector comes and he meets Billy Painter, our police chief. He asks to see the jail. Then he says, no prisoners? How can I hold my head up and tell him that we don't have any crime? No crime, he'll say. But Earth colonies always have crime. Don't you see that, Tom? Right there, the whole thing falls through. He'll see that we're not truly Earth-like. We're faking it. We're aliens. And you heard what he said about being rough on aliens.
Well, yeah, but why me?
Can't spare anyone else. And you've got narrow eyes. Criminals always have narrow eyes.
Well, they aren't that narrow.
Tom, please, we're all doing our part. You want to help now, don't you?
Oh, I suppose so.
Fine. You're our criminal. Here, I've got this paper all made out for you, just to make it legal.
Skulking Permit.
Know all men by these presents that Tom Fisher is a duly authorized thief and murderer. He is hereby required to skulk in dismal alleys, haunt places of low repute, and to break the law.
What's the law?
I'll let you know as fast as I make them up. All Earth colonies have laws.
Oh, well, what do I do?
You steal and kill. Look, I'll give you a couple of books on it. Steal as much as you like. One murder should be enough. Don't overdo it.
Well, it don't sound sensible somehow.
Well, you can work up to it, Tom. Why don't you start off easy like by haunting a place of low repute?
Hello, Tom. I hear you're our official criminal now.
That's right. I have a beer.
How's it going?
Well, I've been studying. I can't put my finger on it yet.
Hey, did you get the weapons Mary Carpenter sent over?
Yeah, a hatchet, a spear, 2 knives, and a blackjack.
Uh-huh.
I stuck myself with a spear, Ed. The whole thing ain't sensible to me. I can't figure out what's the purpose of crime. What do people get out of it?
Here's the beer. I tried a new route this time. Tell me how you like it.
Very dry. Less filling.
How come you ain't out thieving now, Tom?
Oh, I'm planning. My permit says I have to haunt places of low repute, and that's why I'm here.
Well, this ain't no place of low repute.
You serve the worst meals in town.
I know. My wife can't cook. But there's a real friendly atmosphere here. The folks like it, Tom.
It's all changed, Ed. I'm making this tavern my headquarters. It's now a criminal lair.
Try to keep a nice place, and a lot of thanks you get.
Hi, Tom. You steal anything yet?
Oh, well, not yet, Mary, no.
I'll have a Paracuda, Ed. Don't worry, Tom. You'll catch on. If anyone in this village can learn, you can.
Sure, we got confidence in you, Tom.
Why don't you steal something right now, Tom? Go ahead.
Well, suppose I could.
I brought some geefers in my basket. They're real ripe. You could steal those.
Well, they are nice-looking geepers, Mary. Real tasty.
Go ahead, Tom. Steal it.
Well, These are nice-looking geepers. Mind if I take one out the light and look at it?
No, Tom, you go right ahead.
Now, just a minute there.
Hi, Billy. What do you have?
I'm on official police business. What were you doing with that geefer, Tom?
Just looking at it.
I don't think you were just looking at it, Tom. I think you were planning on stealing it. You're a suspicious character. I think I better lock you up for further questioning.
No, Billy. What are you doing?
I'm doing my duty, Mayor. Tom here is looking mighty suspicious. The book says...
I know what the book says. I gave you the book. You can't go arresting Tom, not yet.
But there's no other criminal in the village.
Oh, Billy, don't you understand? This village needs a criminal record. Acting suspiciously isn't a crime.
All right, but I was just trying to do my job. I'll still get you, Tom. Remember, crime does not pay.
Hey, that's a real slick way of putting it, isn't it?
I thought it was kind of catchy. I read it in a book.
Well, Tom, go ahead now. Steal something.
Well, I'm not in the mood anymore.
You better get to it soon, and don't forget the murder.
Is it really necessary?
Oh, I wish it weren't, but this colony has been here for over 200 years, and we haven't had a single murder. Not one.
I suppose we should have one. No, I'll take care of it.
Good boy, Tom. We're counting on you. Billy, I want you to paint up a couple of hundred signs saying private property, no trespassing, violators will be prosecuted, and a dozen saying speed limit 35 miles an hour.
Why? All we got is those quag horses, and they won't go faster than a walk.
Never mind. You got to have a speed limit. It's civilized. Well, that's the last of the signs, Billy. You might as well get some sleep.
Aren't you going home, Mayor?
No, I've got to get out to Fred Farmers. I appointed him postmaster. Since nobody ever sends letters around here, I promised to help him write all those letters.
Well, good night, Mayor. I guess I better be making my rounds.
Yeah, good night, Billy.
Who's that? Tom? Tom Fisher? You out thieving? Who's there? Don't move, or I'll shoot. Hey, Tom, come back.
Hey, what's going on out there? What's all the racket?
It's the town criminal, Ed. I think I heard him robbing your house.
Yeah?
He's made his getaway now, but don't you worry. I'll get him yet.
All right, but get him in the morning, will you? Some of us are trying to sleep.
Morning, Marv. How's the schoolhouse coming?
Fair. Would have come along better if I had my saw.
Your saw?
Yeah. I left it leaning against my door last night. Wasn't there this morning, Tom.
Oh, yeah, your saw. Well, you know how it is, Marv. I had to practice some skulking last night.
Yeah, sure. Say, do you suppose I could use the saw for a while, just for an hour or two?
Well, I don't know. It's legally stolen, you know.
Well, I'd give it back. I wouldn't keep anything that was legally stolen.
Well, it's in the house with the rest of the loot.
Okay, I'll go borrow it then.
Tom, I've been looking for you.
Morning, Mayor.
Did you steal my bronze plaque?
I certainly did.
Oh, well, I was just wondering. You did it just in time. You see up there?
What?
Up there, the black dot near the rim of the sun.
Oh, what is it?
Well, I'll bet it's the inspector's ship. You got your murder planned? Time is running short, Tom. The inspector may land any hour now. That darn radio's been yapping at me something about a revolt at Deng 4 and all Earth colonies are to prepare for conscription, whatever that is. So let's get that killing over with.
I don't know, though. Murder...
Now, look, Tom, criminals on Earth commit dozens of murders a day and think nothing of it. All this village wants of you is one little killing. Is that too much to ask? Now, who will it be, Tom?
Oh, I guess I'll kill George Waterman.
Why?
Why? Why not?
What's your motive?
I thought you just wanted to murder. Who said anything about a motive?
We can't have a fake murder. On Earth, every murderer has a motive.
Well, I don't like the way George walks, never did, and he's noisy.
No. That might be good enough for a crime of passion, but you're a legal criminal. Tom, you're ruthless, cold-blooded, and cunning. You can't kill someone just because you don't like the way he walks. That's silly.
I better think the whole thing over.
Well, don't take too long. Oh, and Tom, don't forget to leave clues. They're very important.
Have another beer, Tom.
I don't mind if I do.
Hey, how do you like the way I fixed the tavern over? I hung up dirty curtains, you know. That makes it a dismal retreat. Because I figured if this was going to be your headquarters, it ought to be a real criminal's lair. How do you like the bloodstains on the floor?
That's only Billy Painter's root-berry red paint.
Oh, I know, but it looks like bloodstains. Hey, how's the murder coming?
Oh, not so good. No, I've been thinking about it, Ed. Do you realize I'm supposed to kill somebody? I'm supposed to make somebody cease to exist. I mean, like, take Marv Carpenter. Here he is today working on his schoolhouse, big fella. Now, if I kill him, well, he wouldn't work anymore. I've been trying to imagine it. Marv Carpenter lying on the ground with his eyes glaring open and his mouth twisted and never going to hold a piece of wood in his hands again or never going to sing a song or have a beer or anything. Well, it just made me kind of sick. I mean, I could go on with the thieving, but murder...
Yeah, I know, but, Tom, it's your job. It's for the good of the village.
Murder. I better have another beer. Hey, what's that?
That must be the inspector's ship landing. Come on, let's go see.
Perimeter guard advance. Set up portable generators and rocket launchers. All personnel restricted to immediate area of the ship. Sidearms to be worn at all times. And guards at battle station.
Welcome to New Delaware.
Thank you, General. I'm the inspector. This is Mr. Grant, my political advisor.
Is this the capital of the colony?
Well, I'm afraid there's only this village on the whole of New Delaware.
Only one? Now, Grant, I told you when we surveyed the planet we were wasting our time.
Patience. There's always an advantage in every situation.
If you gentlemen are ready...
Ready?
You're going to inspect our village, aren't you?
Inspect? I can see it all.
Why, of course, General. We're ready. Let's inspect your village.
You see, we've got it all. Jail, post office, church, little red schoolhouse. Oh, we're very normal, very earthy.
Grant, I have my efficiency rating to think of. This place is worthless. No smelting, no heavy industry, no atomics, no taxation, no... They don't have anything.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Inspector. If you'll excuse us, General.
Of course.
I'll be downgraded at the next colonial board. Why, this place is a utopia. It's subversive. We ought to blow it right out of the sky.
No, don't be despondent, Inspector.
But this whole trip is a total waste of time.
Not entirely. New Delaware has a very important commodity for us.
What? You saw them? Hulking peasants? Nothing but farmers.
Yes, strong, healthy farmers.
Good cannon fodder.
But...
Oh. Ooh, let me take over. General.
Yes, sir?
How many able young men are there in the village between the ages of 15 and 60?
Why?
You see, General, Imperial Earth is engaged in a war. The colonies in Deng 4 are revolting against the authority of Mother Earth.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
We need good, healthy fighting men. Our reserves are depleted.
We wish to give all loyal colonists a chance to fight for Mother Earth. We're sure you won't refuse. Most colonies welcome a little conscription. Cleanses the blood, reduces crime.
Crime? Oh, I thought that would come up. We've taken care of that. I appointed...
Now, you see, Grant, 60, 70, perhaps 100 recruits. Not such a waste of time coming here at all.
Perhaps not.
Sergeant, detail a squad of 50 men armed with portable heat generators to post a guard in the village. All right, Mr. Mayor. Suppose we go talk this problem over.
Tom, you out there?
Yeah. I've been skulking out here all day. I'm hungry.
Well, I brought you supper. The mayor sent you a message, Tom. He said to hurry up at the murder. He's been stalling the inspector and that nasty little Grint man, but they're going to ask him. They're sure to.
All right. I'll get around to it tonight. Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, hello, Tom. What are you doing?
Well, you said there had to be a murder, so
Now, wait. I didn't mean me. It can't be me.
Well, why not?
Well, for one thing, somebody has to talk to the inspector. He's waiting for me. Someone has to
Billy
show him
Painter
how
can do that. You think a knife would be more fatal in the heart or in the throat? Well, nothing personal, of course.
Wait. If there's nothing personal, then you have no motive.
Oh. Well, I guess I could think of one. I've been pretty sore about you appointing me town criminal.
It was the mayor who appointed you, wasn't it?
Well, sure.
Then look, I'm not a mayor anymore. I'm a general. Look, it's stars, gold braid.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Well, you missed the ceremony this afternoon, Tom. Inspector said I had to wear a general's uniform. It was a very friendly ceremony. All the Earthmen were grinning. They were winking at me and at each other.
Oh, congratulations. But you were the mayor when you appointed me criminal, so my motive still holds.
Yes, but killing a general isn't murder. It's mutiny.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's just that I've read up on it, and you haven't. Well, I better get back. The inspector wants a lot of the men that he can draft.
Are you sure this murder is necessary?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Just not me.
No luck, huh, Tom?
I just can't do it. Ed, I can't kill anybody in the village. I grew up with them. I've worked with them. I've drunk root beer with them. I don't have any motive for killing any of them.
I know, but you do have to commit a murder, Tom. You don't want to let the village down.
But I can't kill the people I've known all my life.
No, I suppose not.
Wait a minute. I got an idea. Ed, suppose I kill the inspector.
Well, what's your motive?
Oh, it would be a very terrible crime. I'd be killing for glory, for fame, for notoriety, and it'll show Earth how earthy New Delaware really is. Why, they'll say crime is so bad here that a criminal actually killed their inspector on the very first day.
Tom, that's just the sort of thing a master criminal would do.
Oh, you think it's a good idea, huh?
I think it's great, Tom. But how are you going to do it?
Well, one of those soldiers got drunk in a bottle of your Keebler juice and dropped his gun. I picked it up.
Oh, is that a gun?
Yeah, you push this button here.
Hey, look out!
I'm sorry, Ed.
Now I'll have to get the carpenter boys to fix that hole in the roof.
Oh, well, I'll be careful.
Did you kill the soldier?
Of course not. No point in killing the wrong man. Well, I better get going. I'll wait for him on the path between the mayor's house and the ship.
Good luck, Tom.
Thanks.
Up, 2, 3, 4. Keep in line there. Ah, what a sloppy crew. All left feet.
Well, it's a nice night's work. With those landing parties dying like flies, we can use every new man we can get.
Don't say that.
What, are you afraid the mayor will hear me? Don't be ridiculous. It's a completely passive population. Sheep-like, obedient.
Look at them. No two of them in step.
Well, what do you expect from backwood agrarians? Wait till those sergeants get hold of them at the base.
They'll whip them into first-class fighting men in no time.
Halt! Stand and deliver!
What's that? Why, it's Tom.
Hands up, Inspector.
Huh?
I got you covered. Now, the rest of you drop your guns and move out of the way.
What? Now, see here.
Now, go on now, drop those guns.
Now, what's the meaning of this?
And who are you?
Tom Fisher. I'm the town criminal. I'm going to kill the inspector. Now, please move out of the way.
Criminal? So that's what the mayor was prattling about.
Now, I know we haven't had any murders in 200 years, but I'm changing that now. Now, move out of the way.
Well, I suppose I'd better get out of the line of fire.
No, wait a minute, wait.
Now, don't move. I know just how to do it. I've been thinking about it. Now, I'll push this button, and you'll die. You'll fall down on the path, and your eyes will open, and your mouth twisted, and no air going in and out of your lungs, and no beat to your heart, and I can't do it. Here's your gun. Take it. I don't want it.
Quick, after him. Sergeant, take a squad and search the forest.
Take it easy, Inspector. This whole planet is forest. 10,000 men couldn't find him if he doesn't want to be.
But I'll have him hanged on the spot.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Sergeant, have the entire ship's company turned out. General, I want all your people out looking for him. Shoot out sights. Kill him instantly. Oh, we couldn't do that. Although we appreciate the compliment. What? That man...
He's a criminal. That's what I'm trying to explain. I appointed him. We had to have one.
You what?
You mean you had no criminals? Well, I'm afraid not. Oh, I am terribly ashamed. You see, we knew how uncivilized we were. That's why we did it. I'm dreadfully embarrassed that Tom couldn't handle the job. Well, why did you give the assignment to that particular man?
Well, I figured if anyone could kill, Tom could. He's a fisherman, you know. Pretty gory work. Oh.
And he wasn't able to kill the inspector.
Well, we just haven't had to kill anything for 200 years except fish. The only animals on New Delaware are small grass eaters, and they're not good to eat, so we never kill any of them.
Then the rest of you would be equally unable to kill?
We wouldn't even get as far as Tom did.
I want that man found.
Forget about it, Inspector.
What?
We'd better get away from here. You want men in our army who can't kill?
Oh.
Think of it. A morale problem. The possibility of infection. One man in a key position endangering a key ship, or maybe a whole fleet because he can't kill. It isn't worth the risk, Inspector.
Yes, sir. I see what you mean.
Order your troops back to the ship. We'll take off at once.
Tom, you can come out now. Tom, they're gone.
He's hiding around here somewhere, Mayor.
Yeah. Tom!
Here I am. I'm sorry I bungled it.
Well, don't feel bad about it. It was an impossible job.
I'm afraid it was. I thought that just possibly you could swing it, but you can't be blamed, Tom. There's not another man in the village who could have done the job even as well.
What are we going to do with all those buildings, Mayor? The jail, the post office, the little red schoolhouse, the church?
Well, I think we'll build a playground for the kids with swings and slides and sandboxes for them.
Another playground?
Surely, why not?
Well, I guess I won't be needing my skulking permit anymore.
No, I guess not. Oh, well, we did our best.
I had the chance, then I let you all down.
It's not your fault, Tom. Look how long it took Earth to get civilized. Thousands of years. And we were trying to do it in 2 weeks.
Well, we'll just have to go back to being uncivilized.
Yeah.
Well, we better get back to the village. Looks like rain.
Well, soon I'll start fishing again. Say.
What is it, Tom?
Oh, it's too late now, but it's too bad I didn't think of it before. I might have been able to go through with it.
Think of what, Tom?
I think I could have done it. If I'd only had the sense to think of the inspector as a fish. Well, it's too late now. Guess he's just a big one that got away.
You've just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features an unusual story by James E. Gunn, Cylona, a story of what happened when crime suddenly invaded a crimeless society, and where the only way to catch a thief was to manufacture a thief. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Skulking Permit, a story from the pages of Galaxy, written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Dick Hamilton, Wendell Holmes, Joe DeSantis, Joseph Boland, Alan Hewitt, Bill Quinn, Mandel Kramer, and Ruby Dee. Your announcer, Jack Costello. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Let's visit Fibber McGee and Molly tonight on the NBC Radio Network.
For many days, the Gregory yacht has been held captive in the slip between two of the piers on the strange isle of Euclidia, the Magic Island. The rescue boat sailed from Los Angeles with Johnson in command and was prepared to aid in rescuing Mrs. Gregory and her party from the island. However, radio messages between this boat and the Gregory yacht were intercepted, and Johnson's boat captured and towed to the island by a Euclidean submarine. Johnson was not aboard, however, and now he is bound back to Los Angeles to prepare another rescue expedition. Jerry and Joan are getting some mysterious instructions from Captain Bradford in the radio cabin on the yacht.
We'll do it exactly like you tell it, Tex, won't we, Joan?
Certainly. You may depend on Jerry and me to carry out your instructions, Captain. Even if there were some little danger connected with it, it would still be better for Jerry and myself to attempt it, as Captain Bradford would excite more suspicion trying to gain admittance to the laboratory.
I suppose you're right, dear, but it all seems so wild and terrible.
Now, don't worry, Mrs. Gregory. Joan and I'll bring home the bacon.
I know you will, kid. You and Joan can do the work of any two men I ever worked with. Now, listen. This thing isn't going to be difficult if you'll do exactly as I say.
Yes, Captain.
You and Jerry go over on the island. Start poking around in the corners and act curious. Don't get anyone too angry at you. But try to get yourselves taken to G47's laboratory if you don't get invited there.
Well, Joan knows all the places where we can bump into somebody who will take us to G47, so the old guy will bawl us out. Then we ought to be able to figure a way to stay in the laboratory and watch them finish working out the formula they got from Mac.
But if you are in the laboratory when the formula is completed, you will be in danger from the gas.
Not if they do as I tell them. Now, here is a lot of cotton soaked in a solution I made for the purpose. You can carry more than enough for both of you in your pocket, Jerry, and it'll stay wet enough for an hour or more. If you're in the laboratory, when the gas floods the place, stick some of that cotton in your noses. Hold your mouths tight shut. Breathe a little through your noses if you have to. Be sure to fall with the others and act as they do. Then when they're all asleep, get out fast and close the door. Call the other Euclideans and tell them something has happened in the laboratory. Then you get back here to this boat.
Won't the gas affect their eyes, Tex?
Not in the slightest. Its only possible effect is in the lungs. The solution on the cotton will absorb all you could breathe of it for 3 minutes. 1 minute will give you more time than you need. That's all.
Oh, Joan, my dear, I'm so afraid for you.
There is nothing to fear. We will follow the captain's instructions.
Well, come on. Let's get going.
Good luck, kids.
Now where? You lead the way, Joan. You ought to know all the places where we can get into trouble on this funny island.
I will take you to several places where we should be stopped and taken before G47 to explain our conduct.
Here we go again. I start to get the jitters every time I walk on the stone without making any noise.
We may get many of those jitters, as you call them, before this little task of ours is completed.
Oh, you think it's going to be tough, huh?
Tough?
I mean, we're going to have a hard time putting it over?
Precisely.
Now, what did I tell you about that precisely thing?
I will not say it again, Jerry, if you do not like it.
You know, Joan, you're about the swellest girl a fella ever had.
I like that, Jerry. I think you are a nice and clever boy.
That's what I like about you. You could see what a swell fellow I was right away.
Yes, Jerry, you make it very plain.
Yeah, huh? Oh, yeah. You mean it sticks out all over me. Well, you ain't so bad yourself.
Jerry, how often must I tell you that ain't is not correct?
I know all about it. Now let my manners and English alone and do something to help the plot along. Where can we get into trouble?
Right here, if you do not speak more quietly. Remember that the guard in the central control chamber is hearing all you say.
Yeah, that's right.
Then... Oh, Jerry, the elevator housing is rising out of the island. Someone is coming up.
Let's just stall along over to it. We might pick up some news along there.
I do not understand that stall. How how is it possible to stall along? Is not a stall a small partition?
Yeah. A stall is where they keep horses in English, but it means to go slow in slang. Hey, look who's coming out of the elevator.
Why, Jerry, it is Commander S1.
Nobody else. My girlfriend from the submarine.
But, Jerry, you said...
Now, don't start to cry. I know I called her my girlfriend, but it don't mean a thing. She's coming this way.
I think it would be well to use care in addressing the commander.
Okay, I'll watch my step.
It is indeed an unexpected pleasure to meet you, my dear Cleostra. And as usual, you are, of course, searching for trouble.
How did you know that?
Your indiscreet companion attracts trouble as a magnet does metal.
Okay, Commander, have it your way.
What is this? No sparkling retort from you, Hall?
I've got nothing to say.
That is likely. But under ordinary conditions, you would be saying it.
Saying what?
Nothing.
Oh.
You will pardon me, Commander, but Jerry and I would like to look around on some of the lower levels of the island. Would you care to accompany us?
Hey, Joan, wait a minute.
Quiet, Jerry. I have asked the Commander to accompany us if it is agreeable to her.
Well, maybe you know what you're doing. Go to it.
I will be quite willing to accompany you. I am free at the time, and it is highly possible I may be able to prevent your getting into trouble.
Yeah, that's just what I was afraid of.
Jerry!
Your remark confirms my suspicions, Hall. I shall accompany you. We will use the private submarine elevator. Follow me.
Now, look here, Joan. If this comes out wrong, it's your fault.
I feel as you say, Jerry. I have a bunch, and when
Hey, that's a hunch, not a bunch.
Of course, Jerry. Then I have a hunch.
Well, golly whiskers. So you've got a hunch. And you can use slang without choking on it. That's good enough for me.
You will enter?
Oh, hurry, Jerry.
Okay. In we go. Oh, this floor doesn't make any noise.
You must not pay any attention to Jerry, Commander. He is always looking for things which make noise.
Yeah, this island's too quiet for me.
I will take you where you may make a great deal of noise if you so desire. We will leave this car at the 5th floor.
That's where the main chemical laboratory is, isn't it?
Jerry.
Yes, the laboratory is there, as is this car. You may step out, Hall. And you, Cleostra?
Boy, that was service. 5 floors in about that many seconds and without a sound. Now where?
Follow me.
I know where we are going, I think, Jerry.
Where?
To the sound channel.
To the what?
Cleostra is correct. You wanted to make and hear noise. This chamber will give you ample opportunity.
What kind of a place is this? A special room for noise?
Precisely. We will enter here. Exercise caution in your voice and movements. The din will be terrific if you are careless.
There's more things on this island that do... Hey, listen to my voice. Gee, it sounds funny and loud, too.
I warned you to speak quietly.
This is the sound channel, Jerry, where all sounds are tested for their vibrations and penetrating qualities.
Here, for example, is a length of the Euclidean cloth with which you have lined your cabin. Put it over your head. Wrap it tightly around your throat. Then speak.
Hey, if this is a gag, I'll...
Try it, Jerry. I have done it before.
Okay. Well, how did it sound?
We could not understand your speech. The sound was barely audible.
Yes, Jerry. At a distance of a few feet, even that slight sound would not have been heard.
Well, I like it better this way. How am I doing?
Oh, Jerry, please. That makes such an awful noise.
This is the kind of a place I like, where you can hear all that's going on.
It is the only place on the island where nothing can be heard from without.
Jerry, the commander is right.
You mean this racket can't be heard out in the elevators or anywhere?
Precisely.
Then I can have all the fun I want to. Say it. Joan, that gives me an idea.
I had hoped it would.
You had... Huh?
The commander is waiting for you to speak, Jerry.
On the level, Commander. Nothing we say can be heard in any other place on the island? Not by their instruments or anything?
That has been definitely established.
And you brought us to this room on purpose. You did it to give us a chance to talk.
Exactly.
Swell. But, well, what if G47 finds out you brought us here? Won't that cause you a lot of trouble?
It would be very serious for the commander, Jerry.
But you brought us here anyhow. Well, Commander, I'm going to tell you something.
I might suggest that you hurry your remarks.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Okay, here it is. G47 has a formula he thinks is an important one of Captain Bradford's.
The universal solvent?
You knew that?
Sure, she knew. I guess everybody on the island knows G47's after that formula.
Correct. Proceed.
Well, this formula they've got is not the solvent, but it is a real formula. And when they put the last ingredient into it and get the solution exactly right, it will kind of blow up. And the room will be filled with a gas that will put everybody in the room to sleep for hours.
And your plan is?
Well, Joan and I want to be in that laboratory when the gas fills the room. Then when the Euclideans are all laid out, we'll run out and report to the other Euclideans. They'll rush in the room, and the gas will get them. It'll stay active in the big room for 24 hours.
And then?
Then we will notify Captain Bradford and Mother on the yacht. And our party will take over the command of the island, and everything will be... Oh, Jerry, we've made a mistake. The commander...
Hey, look here, Commander. You're on our side, aren't you? Commander. The Commander. What makes you look so funny? Joan, this thing's going wrong. Don't let her out that door.
Silence. You two young fools need have no fear of me. I was merely thinking if I could plan your safety in that gas-filled room.
Hey, Joan, listen to that.
Yes, Terry. Oh, you are wonderful, Commander.
Time will tell.
Well, don't worry about the gas for us. We've got some cotton soaked in a secret solution to stick in our noses so the gas won't hurt us.
Very well. I will take you to the laboratory at once. I will explain your presence by saying I found you spying in the outer chamber. Then I will remain with you as if to guard you. And when the gas has done its work, you may bring the captain to take over the control of Euclidia.
Oh, boy, that's swell. Here's some of the cotton. Stick it in your nose now and shove it up the nostril far enough so it won't be seen.
Prepare yourselves. I will not need the cotton.
But, Commander, you said that you would be in the room with us.
I shall.
Then the gas will put you to sleep. It might even hurt you. And, well, I'm not sure.
That is of no moment. You are in the right. The Euclideans are wrong. I can serve you best by posing as a loyal Euclidean, even to the point of allowing the gas to overcome me.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, all attempts to stop the vicious attack on the World Peace Federation from appearing in the Daily Planet seem doomed, even as Superman fights desperately to save the life of its publisher, John Grayson.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal, Dan McCullough. You know, this week's Pet Dish of the Week sure is hitting a lot of home runs for a lot of appetites. Makes breakfast a big league affair. It's a Pep Double Play, right in tune with the times and with your taste. Now, here's the idea. You pour half your regular serving of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, in the bottom of your bowl. Then add a juicy layer of fresh blackberries, chilled in sugar. Finish off with more Pep, add cool milk, and pitch into your Pep Double Play. What a team. That double layer of Pep peps up the berries like anything. Sure, Pep sets the pace with that catchy, so-good flavor that gives your appetite the old come-on. Because Pep is crisp and tender and light. Why, Kellogg's Pep always tastes so terrific, you don't waste any time finishing off every crisp spoonful in your bowl, which is particularly important these days when the cereal grains are being sent to fellows and girls all over the world. So, gang, when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocer's, keep this in mind. Eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Working undercover, a munitions magnate named Rufus Pelly is conspiring to discredit the World Peace Federation because its aim is to prevent wars. Secretly, he arranged for a mysterious individual named Homer Smith to appear at the Metropolis Daily Planet as the personal representative of John Grayson, publisher of the paper, and through him ordered Editor Perry White to launch a vicious campaign against the Peace Federation. White refused, and that day he disappeared. Baffled by the sudden alarming turn of events, and convinced that publisher Grayson held the key to the mystery,
Clark Kent, after an unsuccessful attempt to see him, learned from Mrs. Grayson that he had set out to sea in a little cabin cruiser as a hurricane was approaching. As Superman, Kent plucked the half-drowned publisher from the fury of a storm-tossed sea and carried him to the nearest village. Then, resuming his guise of Clark Kent, he brought him to Dr. Agnew, the village physician, and helped apply artificial respiration. As we continue now at Grayson's bedside, the publisher has not yet responded to treatment. Listen.
Something you can do to bring him around, Doctor?
I've done all I can, Mr. Kent. I can't do any more without the patient's cooperation.
What do you mean?
The physician can only do so much. In order for his efforts to be successful, the patient must have a strong will to recover. But I don't believe that Mr. Grayson wants to get well.
Oh, now look, Doctor.
As a matter of fact, I'm certain of it. Do you know any reason why Mr. Grayson shouldn't want to get well?
Yes, I think I do, Doctor. He's been living in great fear recently.
Really? In fear of what?
Of a certain man, and perhaps of others. You see, his fear made him... Well, it made him betray his conscience, his friends, and his country.
Oh?
Maybe that made him so ashamed that he went out into that hurricane this morning, hoping he wouldn't come back.
Very likely. Well, that explains his lack of will. I'm afraid there's nothing more any man can do for him, Mr. Kent.
Maybe there is.
What do you mean?
Maybe I can give John Grayson a will to get well.
You?
Yes. Look, Doctor, can he hear me?
He can if he'll make the effort.
But he's got to. There's more than his life at stake here, much more, and time is running out fast. Just one thing.
Yes?
You must give me your word that whatever you hear me say must be kept in strict confidence, Doctor.
Why, of course, Mr. Kent. You can rely on me.
Thank you. Here goes then. Mr. Grayson, listen to me. Perry White has disappeared, and the Daily Planet is beginning a campaign against the World Peace Federation. Do you hear me, Mr. Grayson? Perry White has disappeared, and your own newspaper is sabotaging the World Peace Federation. Do you think he hears me, Doctor?
His pulse rate is up slightly, Mr. Kent.
It is?
I think you're beginning to penetrate.
Oh, good. Listen to me, Mr. Grayson. You've got to help us find Perry White, and you mustn't stop.
Urgently, Clark Kent keeps talking, trying desperately to rouse the half-conscious newspaper publisher and restore in him the will to live. Meanwhile, in Lois Lane's office at the Daily Planet, the girl reporter and Jimmy Olsen are nervously pacing the floor.
What time is it now, Jim?
11:30.
In half an hour, the Planet will be on the streets with that vicious attack against the Peace Federation. What'll we do?
We can't do anything, Miss Lane. Oh, if only Mr. Kent were here.
A lot of help he is, always, when he's needed most. He's not even around.
Well, I'm sure he's trying to do
Wait a
something.
minute, Jim. Maybe... Gosh, maybe...
Maybe what?
I think I've got an idea.
You have?
Yes, it may not work, but, well, it's worth a try. Come on with me.
Where?
Down to the press room. I want to see Boris Archenko. Because the Daily Planet has a reputation for being honest, thousands of people will believe this dirty, lying, page-one editorial against the World Peace Federation.
Sure, I know this, Miss Lane.
And if the United States doesn't support the Federation, there'll be another war, sure as you're born.
I know this too, Jim. Mr. Kent tell me, can be peace only if all countries be friends and trust each other.
That's right.
But what can Boris do?
Well, you're the foreman down here, aren't you?
Sure, I am foreman.
And, you can do anything you want with the presses and everything else, can't you?
How you mean? Hey, you mean for Boris?
Gosh, Miss Lane, you don't...
I mean, we've got to stop this vicious, lying attack on the Peace Federation somehow, anyhow.
Hey, look, Boris understand, Miss Lane. Maybe can do.
You will, Boris?
I will try, but better you go upstairs quick now. Every couple minutes, Mr. Smithy stick his nose in me.
Okay. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Come on, Jim.
Oh, there goes the insurance company clock, Miss Lane. 12 o'clock noon.
I know, Jim. Oh, dear.
Well, what's the matter now?
Come here to the window. See? The trucks are leaving with the noon edition.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that means Boris couldn't stop the presses or whatever he was going to do.
In a few minutes, 1 million copies of that terrible editorial will be on the stand.
Oh.
Hiya, Jim. Almost
Oh, go away, Beanie. Whatever it is, we don't want any.
I ain't selling nothing. I'm just bringing a copy of the paper.
Well, that's what I mean. Take it away.
And get fired? Nothing doing. I got orders to put a copy of every edition on every reporter's desk, and that's what I'm doing. Here's your copy, too, Jim.
Okay.
Thanks, Beanie.
You're welcome, Miss Lane. Gee willikers, is the roof going to blow off around here pretty soon? Wow.
What do you mean?
Take a look at page 1. Boy, ain't I glad I ain't working in the press room.
What's he talking about?
Why, he's wacky. He's got a hole in the head.
Just the same. Jim, look.
Huh? What?
Smith's editorial.
Oh, I don't want to see the sleeping lizards. It's all inked out.
Jim, Boris must have done something to the rollers to ink out the editorial on the whole edition.
Hot dog, good old Boris. We stopped Mr. Smith after all.
You mean Boris did? Oh, Jim, this is wonderful.
Boris, now, it was nice going.
Boris, you're wonderful. You're just about the most wonderful man
You mean I duck, Miss Lane?
Huh? What do you mean?
Mr. Smith come to press room just now. He say, Boris, you are rat. You ink out editorial on purpose, no?
Uh-oh.
And I say, sure. Boris see 2 world wars. You see family, friends, all killed. Not want to see more wars. Only way not have war is have World Peace Federation.
Oh,
so,
what'd he say to that?
He say, we finish Peace Federation. No one can stop us. Then he say, mad like anything. You are fired from here, Boris. I got new foreman. You be out here in 5 minutes, or new foreman, he shoot you for trespass.
Oh, shoot you?
The impress room is now new foreman, 5, 6 other top fellas. All of them got guns.
Guns?
Mr. Smith say, you leave quick, Boris.
What?
He say to other pressmen, editorials must go in next edition. Anybody who try to do something funny like Boris, these fellas shoot him down like dirty dog. How do you like that? Huh?
Good heavens. And the next edition goes to press in 2 hours.
And it'll have Smith's editorial on page 1. We're licked again, Miss Lane. And this time, for good.
Dismayed, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Boris Archenko shake their heads, seeing no possible way to stop the crafty Homer Smith from sabotaging the World Peace Federation. What will happen now? We'll know in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, what's the lowdown on breakfast at your house? Do you eat the sort of meal that helps start your day in high? Well, here's the dope about as delish a dish as you could wish. One that'll tease your appetite so that you can hardly wait to dig in. It's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. The light, crisp cereal that's a bright spot at any breakfast table. And when you pour on cool milk and sugar and start to spoon it up, what a come-on you get. Your appetite sure wakes up smiling when your spoon comes up rippling with cool, catchy flavor. Yes, sir, you can really latch onto those crisp, tender flakes of Kellogg's Pep. They're solid senders. Make breakfast the kind of meal that you're glad to get up for every morning because Pep's a smacking, whacking good. And as you spoon up all that slick Pep flavor, you get the good out of Pep's hearty whole wheat nourishment plus. So eat it all up, gang. Polish off your morning dish of Kellogg's Pep clean as a whistle. You know, nowadays, we're sending the cereal grains to help give good nourishment to fellows and girls overseas. Think of that when Mom brings Kellogg's Pep home from the grocers. You're on the beam if you eat all your Pep. Don't waste it.
In a small coastal village 100 miles from Metropolis, in the home of Dr. Agnew, Clark Kent has been trying desperately to rouse the half-conscious John Grayson, publisher of the Daily Planet. Again and again, Kent has reminded him of his great responsibilities. As we rejoin them now, a shudder runs through the publisher's body.
Look, his eyes opened a little then, and he moved.
Yes, his pulse is getting much stronger. Coming around fine now, thanks to you, Mr. Kent.
Good.
Keep talking to him.
Right.
Don't let him lapse back into a coma.
No, you bet I won't. There's far too much at stake. Listen to me, John Grayson. You've got to help us find Perry White. Do you hear me, Grayson? Do you hear me?
He's trying to speak. He's conscious now.
Good. Answer me, Mr. Grayson. Do you want the responsibility for the lives of millions of men, women, and children who'll die in the next war? Do you?
No.
Well, then talk. Where is Perry White? Come on, snap out of this. Quickly, tell me. Where is Perry White? Think, Mr. Grayson, think. Where is Perry
I'm afraid
White?
you're crowding the men too hard, too fast, Mr. Kent.
I'm sorry, but there's so little time, Doctor. We've got to find...
Nevertheless, it's better getting the information you want a little later than not getting it at all, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose you're right.
I am, believe me. For best results, I suggest you take it easy.
All right, Doctor, let's try it again. Look, Mr. Grayson, please listen carefully and try to understand how important...
Worried about what may be happening to his friend and editor, and anxious to solve the mystery of John Grayson's peculiar behavior before irrevocable damage is done to the cause of world peace, Clark Kent represses his impatience and continues his efforts to make the weakened publisher talk. What will happen? Tomorrow's episode is tense and exciting, gang, so don't miss a minute of it. Remember to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, what makes a famous name famous? Well, Kellogg is famous as the greatest name in cereals. And one reason is Kellogg Shredded Wheat. Those are the plump, tender biscuits made to fit your breakfast bowl. 15 of them in every package, each biscuit toasted just right and full up with natural nut-sweet flavor. And Mom knows Kellogg Shredded Wheat is good for you, too. Sure, this is whole wheat. So remember Kellogg, gang. Ask Mom for Kellogg Shredded Wheat. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Had a hard day at the office? Backache from bending over a hot stove all day? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape.
It is midnight, and you are alone. Suddenly the room is plunged into darkness. You sit frozen with terror, because something is there behind you. Something you feared would come. Something from which you must escape.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to London and a world made strange and terrifying by the workings of an ancient barbaric curse, as Montague R. James tells it in his weird story, Casting the Runes.
My name is Edward Dunning. I'm a scientist. I'm used to dealing with facts, not fairy tales. I'm regarded as Britain's leading authority on medieval life. And as such, I've studied much of the ancient fears and barbaric superstitions of those times. I should have been the first to scoff at any suggestion that the ancient powers of evil, the black magic of Teutonic days, could be believed and practiced in the 20th century. A few weeks ago, I should have laughed had you told me that a curse, a hex, could kill a man. Today, I cannot laugh. It has happened to a man I know of. And now, it's happening to me. My first presentiment of danger came on that day a few weeks ago when I dropped in to see Alfred Smythe, Secretary of the National Science Association, and found him in a state of irritation.
Blast it all, Dunning. I almost wish you hadn't been so brutally honest in your report on that Carswell paper.
Why? What's the trouble?
Oh, he's such a frightful fellow. He's raising a terrible row.
You mean Carswell himself?
Yes, it's bad enough a vicious charlatan like that calling himself a scientist. But now he's taking all his vindictiveness out on me.
Sorry, old chap. It's really me he'd like to get at.
As a matter of fact, that's just what his last letter was about. He wants to know what supposed authority wrote the report rejecting his paper.
You didn't give him my name.
Heavens, no. As a matter of fact, Dunning, I haven't and I won't, and for a very special reason. Call it silly, call it crazy, call it what you will. I have an uncanny feeling about that man Carswell.
Why?
Do you know anything about him?
Nothing. I've never seen him. I only know that he wrote a paper called The Truth of Alchemy. It was hopeless.
Precisely. And why was it hopeless?
Well, besides being abominably written, it was supposed to prove that alchemy, black magic, and such rot actually exists. I think the man really believes it.
Undoubtedly he does, and that's what I mean. He lives in an isolated old house in Warwickshire. He's rarely seen elsewhere, and in his whole career he's written only two things. This paper and a history of witchcraft published 10 years ago.
Yes, of course. I remember now. So that's the man.
Yes, and that book was even worse than this paper. The man has a warped mind. I'm sure he's tried every unhealthy experiment in alchemy, witchcraft, and black magic. There's no telling to what lengths of vindictiveness a man like that might go.
Well, it does sound a bit queer, but...
Not queer, Dunning. Evil.
Oh, come. Man has a right to believe what he likes. He has a right to be angry with me. Here I've glibly scoffed at the man's life's work.
Well, perhaps I'm being overly suspicious and imaginative, but I think there's more than anger involved here, Edward. This may sound fantastic to you, but, well, John Harrington wrote the report condemning that witchcraft book of Carswell's 10 years ago. 3 months later, Harrington was dead.
But, Alfred, what's the connection?
Harrington died under very peculiar circumstances. He was walking home alone late one night, and suddenly he screamed, broke into a run, lost his hat and stick, and climbed up a tree. A dead branch gave way. He fell and broke his neck. No one's ever been able to explain why it happened.
Come now, Alfred, surely you're not suggesting...
I don't know what I'm suggesting. I only know that after he reviewed Carswell's book, John Harrington didn't have a moment's peace. Now you've written an unfavorable review of this paper. If I were you, I should keep that fact well hidden.
Oh, Alfred. Well, that's ridiculous. Yes, I laughed at Alfred Smythe's fears. How could I have known then that I was to feel the same terror, the same agonized fear which gripped the heart of John Harrington as he crouched, panting on the branch of a tree, for another moment or two of life, while beneath him the thing came closer and closer. I'd almost forgotten the incident when, a few nights later, I was riding home on a late train. I was half drowsing in my seat, barely keeping awake by looking idly at the car advertisements. The man directly opposite me must have been doing the same, because suddenly I heard him say,
"Here now, what can that one be advertising?"
I followed his eyes to the window beside my head. What I saw brought me bolt upright in my seat.
In memory of John Harrington, died September 18th, 1937, by falling from a tree. 3 months were allowed. Blimey, what do you say that means, sir?
Well, I don't know. But I did know. Smythe had been right. The affair with Carswell was not over, but only begun. I asked the conductor about the card, but he was as puzzled as I was. He had never seen it before. The card must have been put there expressly for me. That meant that Carswell knew it was I who had reviewed his paper. How had he found out? I got the answer the next day. I was in the select manuscript department of the British Museum doing some research in the quiet, almost deserted room. I'd been working steadily for an hour, oblivious to my surroundings, when suddenly, just at my shoulder, I heard a voice.
"Edward Dunning, you are allowed 3 months.
I swung around in my seat. There was no one within 20 feet of me. I sat for a moment, shaken, and then I stooped to pick up the papers I had brushed to the floor. I straightened up to find a stout, elderly gentleman standing in front of me.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
May I give you this paper?
I think it should be yours.
Oh, yes, so it is. I thought I had them all.
This one seemed to have slid across the floor.
Thank you very much.
Not at all, sir. Good afternoon.
He walked slowly away and out of the door. A kindly, stout old gentleman. But there was something about him that made me feel strange. I went over to the attendant.
Yes, Mr. Dunning.
Did you notice that gentleman I was just speaking to?
Oh, yes, of course.
Can you tell me his name?
Why, that's Mr. Carswell. As a matter of fact, he was asking about you only the other day.
Asking about me?
Well, he asked who were the great authorities on medieval science. Of course, I told him you were the only one in the country.
Oh, I see.
Would you like to meet him, Mr. Dunning? I'll see if I can...
No. No, thank you. It was as simple as that. Now Carswell knew. What would be his next move? What was I to expect? I reached home at dusk, and trouble stood on my doorstep in the long face and stooped form of my family doctor.
I had to upset your household arrangements, I'm sorry to say, Dunning. I've had to send both your servants to hospital.
But what happened?
Something like ptomaine poisoning, I should think. It's nothing serious.
Well, what could have caused it?
Well, that's the rather odd thing. They tell me they bought some shellfish from a hawker and had it for lunch. I've made inquiries, but I can't find that a hawker called at any other house on this street.
Was this the next move? If so, it had succeeded. I was alone in the house, and my nervousness increased as darkness closed in and the hours advanced toward midnight. I went to bed, but almost immediately I thought I heard something. My study door opening downstairs. I went out and leaned over the banister. There was nothing moving, nothing visible. There was only a sudden, surprising gust of warm air playing about my legs. I went back into my room and locked the door. Suddenly, the lights went out. No doubt it was only a blown fuse. But the chills were playing up and down my spine. I went over to the bed and reached for my watch under the pillow. I suppose I wanted to find out the time. I don't know why. But fumbling on the pillow, my hand touched something far different from a watch. It was like a mouth with sharp teeth and hair around it. Not human at all. I fled from my bedroom and spent a long and miserable night locked in the spare room, my ear to the door. But nothing came. I was not disturbed again. In the morning, I searched the house and found nothing unusual. But the mark of fear must have been stamped on my face, for Smythe noticed it next day.
Dunning, you look as if you hadn't slept for weeks. Is anything wrong?
I don't know, Alfred. Yes, there is. Carswell knows.
How?
They told him at the museum.
Of course, we should have thought of that. Has anything happened yet?
I don't know. It's too fantastic. It's probably my mind, hypnotic suggestion or something, but like that man Harrington, I have 3 months left.
Edward.
Must have been hearing things. I'm all on edge. I don't know what to think.
John Harrington had a brother, Henry. Perhaps I'd better get you in touch with him. He might know more about this man, Carswell.
Yes, do it. And quickly. 3 months is not a lot of time. It was arranged. That night, I found myself walking down the dark street that led from the railway station to the Harrington home. It must have been along this same street that John Harrington had walked that last night. Where he had broke and run. It must have been one of these trees bordering the lonely road in which he had spent his last horrible moments. The way was dark, and there was no living soul in sight. And suddenly, complete terror gripped me. Somehow I knew that I was being followed. At first I only felt it, and then I heard it. I walked steadily on for a moment, my stomach like ice. It was getting louder, coming closer. Unconsciously, my step quickened. I could barely control myself. I wanted to scream and run. The thing came closer, closer. I confess, I broke and ran madly for my life. I was at a little side street. I turned down it, doubling back toward the railway station. I thought I would never make it. But finally, bright lights loomed before my eyes, and I think that I never have been so grateful for human companionship.
There's no need to run, sir. The 840 won't be along for another 5 minutes.
I felt very foolish. I couldn't bring myself to walk back down that street to Harrington's. I could only take the train home furtively and call Harrington next morning to beg his forgiveness. He seemed very understanding and asked no questions. Undoubtedly, Smythe had told him something about me. At any rate, he agreed to visit me at a place 2 nights later. And when he arrived and was made welcome, he began to talk about his brother.
Yes, Mr. Dunning. John was in a very bad state for weeks before the accident. If that's what it was. The principal thing seemed to be the notion that he was being followed. It became an obsession.
Yes, I know. I don't think his death was an accident.
Then perhaps you can explain it?
No. But I have one clue. Your brother reviewed a book very severely not long before he died. Just lately, I happened to cross the path of the man who wrote that book.
And his name, of course, is Carswell.
That's right.
As far as I'm concerned, that does it. Before he died, John was beginning to feel, much against his will, that Carswell was at the bottom of his trouble.
Why?
Well, it doesn't make sense.
None of this does. But tell me.
My brother liked music. He went to all the concerts in town, and he made a hobby of collecting the programs. One night, about 3 months before his death, he brought one home and showed it to me. I nearly missed this one, he said. It seems he'd lost his and was hunting for it under his seat when a neighbor, a rather stout elderly gentleman, offered to give John his.
The kind gentleman was Mr. Carswell.
Undoubtedly. I started to leaf through the program and noticed on the second page some rather curious letters, carefully written there in black and red ink. Neither of us could make much of it, except that the letters seemed to be runic.
Runes. Runes, of course.
Well, John thought it might be important, and debated whether he shouldn't try to return the program to the stout gentleman. But just then the door blew open, and a gust of air, of strangely warm air, blew into the room. In a flash, it took the program and blew it straight into the fire.
Yes, your brother was right. He should have returned it.
There's nothing to be done then.
No, perhaps not. But do you know what runic letters mean?
Well, they're old pre-Druid script, I believe. The kind of writing the barbaric tribes used long before the Romans invaded Britain.
Yes, that's right. Casting the runes, they used to call it in the old days. Casting the runes.
What do you mean?
Well, it was a curse, a hex. In primitive England, people thought by casting the runes, that is, handing a person a piece of paper with certain runic letters on it, that you could put that person out of the way, destroy him. It's an old superstition. And the only way to lift the curse was to return the paper to the one who gave it to you. To give it back without his knowing it.
Well, I don't believe that kind of nonsense.
Neither do I.
Then what was it that killed John?
I don't know. Perhaps his fear of the runes, perhaps brooding about it, becoming neurotic, thinking he saw things and heard things and touched things that weren't there. Perhaps his own mind drove him to death.
And what's the difference once you're dead?
No difference at all.
Casting the runes. Oh, it's rubbish.
Yes, of course, but... Good heavens.
What is it?
I just remembered that day at the British Museum. He cast the runes on me. I went swiftly to the writing table, Harrington close behind me. My portfolio was there, full of the scribbled notes I'd been working on that day in the museum. And as I took it in my shaking hands and began leaping desperately through them, one strip of thin, light paper slipped and fluttered toward the open window with uncanny quickness. But Harrington was even quicker and slammed the window shut just in time.
Got it?
Oh, thank heaven. If it were lost or destroyed, like your brother's...
Then you wouldn't be able to return it to Mr. Carswell. Yes. Look at it. It's identical with the one John got.
I looked at the flimsy paper. The characters, carefully traced in red and black, were runes, all right. That ancient language used by the Aborigines of prehistoric Britain. I couldn't decipher them. But as Harrington and I stood looking into each other's eyes, each of us could read the other's thoughts. Science or not, 20th century or not, this sheet of foolscap spells death for its possessor.
It spells death for you.
It must be returned.
Yes, I know.
It must go back in such a way that that he doesn't know he's received it. That means we can't simply mail it.
No, we can't.
We must do it personally. That'll take doing.
Well, he knows you by sight, doesn't he?
Yes.
You must shave your beard. It will alter your appearance. He might strike any time.
I have 3 months. That's what the warning said.
We've got to make good on this Dunning. I've searched 10 years for my brother's murderer, and now he must not escape.
I dare not go near Carswell, so Harrington volunteered to keep a watch on him, to let me know when our chance came to return the rooms, if it was ever to come. It was only a night or two after Harrington was there that I arrived home and found the calendar had come in the mail. When I examined it, I found everything after November 19th had been torn out. The next night, I had another envelope of the mail. This time it was a woodcut, an illustration torn out of a book, showing a dark, moonlit road and a man walking on it. And right behind him came a huge, dark shape, some awful demon creature. Under it were written some lines from the Ancient Mariner, and as I sat alone and read them aloud, I felt that now familiar gust of warm air playing about my legs. The man walks on and turns no more his head, because he knows a frightful fiend doth close behind him tread. Now I knew the face of my terror, and it was with me always. Walking down the dark street at night, I heard its footsteps behind me. In my lonely house at midnight, it roamed the halls. Like the Ancient Mariner and John Harrington, I never turned to look. I couldn't. My nerves were going, and I could do nothing but wait. The days, the weeks slipped by, and still Harrington had no plan. I checked off the days on the calendar Carswell had sent. Now there were 8 days remaining, then 6, then 3, 2, 1. It was the evening of the 18th. My last day on Earth was to begin at midnight. I was sitting alone in my living room, bathed in perspiration, fighting to keep my nerves in check. Suddenly, I felt that warm gust of air. I listened. There were soft footsteps. A shadow seemed to cross the hall door. And then the footsteps blended into a loud bang.
No, not yet. I still got 1 day more. Not yet.
It's me.
Harry.
What's the matter, man? What is it?
It was you came knocking on the door. Your footsteps.
Yes, of course.
Oh, thank him. I thought...
Look, man, you've got to pull yourself together. It's tonight we have our chance.
What chance?
Carswell leaves Victoria Station by bulk train tonight at 10. I'll get on with him there. You take the car I brought and drive to Croydon. Get on the train there. And be sure to bring the paper.
Yes, I have it.
You've shaved already. Good. Everything depends on his not recognizing you.
Mr. Harrington. Suppose he changes his mind. Suppose he doesn't take that trip. My time runs out tomorrow.
He'll be there, and you'll do it. You'll do it well. You've got to.
I stood on the platform at Croydon, my mind in a daze. I thought the train would never come, but it did. I saw Harrington at the window. He stared coolly at me. Of course, there was to be no sign of recognition. I entered the coach and slowly made my way down the aisle to the compartment where Harrington sat. Opposite him, staring full into my face, was Carswell. He looked up as I sat down. His eyes were heavy-lidded, his face bland. It was impossible to tell whether he knew. The train started. The next stop was Dover, the end of the line. My last chance. It was time to cast the rules. It was a strange ride. Carswell and I seated face to face, staring into each other's eyes. Harrington off to the side, pulling at his face with twitching fingers. If I could have only had a few whispered moments with him to plan our strategy, but that was impossible. The moments dragged tortuously. No one moved. Then suddenly Carswell leaned forward.
I beg your pardon, sir. Haven't we met?
Met? Well, I don't think so, sir. Not unless you're in the plumbing business.
Plumbing? No. Hardly.
I hadn't planned it that way. The words, the accent, just seemed to come by themselves. And Carswell sat back, an enigmatic expression on his face. I wished desperately to know what he was thinking. Then suddenly he got up and went out into the corridor. But this was my chance. I was about to slip over to his bags to see if there were ways to secrete the rooms within them, when I caught Harrington's eye and read a warning in them. Carswell from the corridor was watching, waiting to see if we recognized each other. I muttered a prayer of thanks I hadn't moved. Carswell came back and took his seat. As he did so, wild, exultant hope surged up in my throat, for something slipped off his seat and dropped noiselessly to the floor. It was his ticket case, and he didn't see it. Small cardboard ticket case with a pocket on the cover. If I could just get to it and slip that tiny piece of paper into that pocket. For 15 agonizing minutes, I sat there and stared at it. If only Carswell would go out. But he sat stolidly staring straight ahead. We were coming into the outskirts of Dover, the train slowing down. Suddenly, Harrington stood up, reached up to the rack above Carswell to get his coat and bag. I stared at him blankly for a moment, surprised by his sudden clumsiness. And then I realized what he was up to. The bag, the coat, the briefcase all came tumbling down upon Carswell.
What the devil?
Oh, I say I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Clumsy fool, you might have injured me. What were you trying to do?
Well, it was my only chance. Carswell stood facing Harrington. I reached down, got the ticket case, and with trembling fingers slid the paper into the pocket. He turned sharply to me, and I extended the case toward him.
Excuse me, sir. Ain't this yours? Yes, my ticket case. Where'd you find it? Here on the floor. Must have dropped off when... Yes. I'm much obliged to you, sir. Not at all. Not at all.
He looked at me fiercely, his rage at Harrington still twisting his face into a devil's mask. Then he glanced briefly into the ticket case and put it into his pocket. On the railway pier at Dover, Harrington and I followed a few steps behind Carswell. I felt like I might faint. Carswell went straight to the gangway of the boat, and there the purser stopped him.
Sir, does your friend have a ticket? My friend? What the devil do you mean? I'm traveling alone.
Well, that's funny. I could have sworn there was another gentleman right there beside you, walking just at your elbow.
Well, there isn't. And I suggest you see an oculist.
Oh, I didn't see. I just felt. Sorry, sir. Must have been your rugs. My mistake.
Come on, Danny. Our job's done.
I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake and listened. But there were no footsteps, no warm gusts of air, nothing to disturb me. All day I felt remarkably free, although this was to have been my last day on Earth. But only just now, when Harrington came in, could I really relax.
Well, Dunning, have you seen the afternoon paper yet?
No, not yet.
Well, here, look at it. On the second page. There.
Abbeville, France. An English traveler examining the front of St. Wolfram's Cathedral today was struck on the head and killed instantly by a stone falling from the scaffolding. A note of mystery was added by the fact that although the cathedral was undergoing repairs, no workman was on the scaffolding at the time of the accident. The traveler was identified by papers found on him as a Mr. Carswell of Warwickshire.
Of course, it could have been an accident.
Yes. Yes, it could have been.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight brought you Casting the Runes by Montague R. James. Adapted for radio by Irving Ravitch and John Dunkel, with John McIntyre as Edward Dunning, Jan Wolfe as Harrington, and Bill Conrad as Carswell. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fure. Next week,
you are trapped in a hidden valley, high in the Andes, walled in by sheer rock precipices, and surrounding you, closing in on you, is a band of blind men who want your eyes.
Next week, we escape with H.G. Wells' gripping story, The Country of the Blind. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when we again offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and Nestle's chocolate bars. Now present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are aboard the Terra 5 approaching the planet Venus.
We're on vector for the Venus City atmosphere shell, sir.
Fine, Hap. Cut our velocity.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's strange. The controls won't respond.
There's the warning from Space Control. Decelerate quick.
I can't, sir. Nothing happens.
Well, try changing vector.
The controls are frozen.
Someone sabotaged the ship.
Smoking rockets, if we don't do something quick, the ship will crash right into the heart of Venus City.
We'll return in just a moment with the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Shadow of Chardu.
What's new?
Nestle's new.
Nestle's what?
Coconut.
Nestle's new coconut bar. That's for me. You have to eat one to believe that there could be such a wonderful flavor combination. Just imagine. Thick, rich, smooth milk chocolate, crammed to the edges with fresh, toasted coconut. And it's such fun to eat, too, because it gets crisper with every bite. Care to add anything to that, Hap? Hap. You're dead happy, will you please answer?
Oh, golly, Commander, I'm sorry. You know what happens to me when you start talking about Nestle's new coconut bar? I just close my eyes and leave this planet. Yes, sir, I imagine I'm eating one right then and there. I can just taste that sensational, creamy, rich chocolate and all that super coconut. Oh, it's so crisp, so delicious, so... There I go again. That's the way it is, Commander, and there's only one cure for it.
Oh, what might that be?
Why, I gotta eat a Nestle's coconut bar, of course.
Well, now, that seems like a good idea. For you, for me, for all space patrollers, too. Gang, why don't you find out for yourself? Treat yourself to a brand new coconut bar. You'll really go for it.
Everybody goes for Nestle's, Commander. Wonderful milk chocolate, almond chocolate, and crunchy crunch bars. And naturally, the new coconut bar in the red and cream-colored wrapper. Smoking rockets, Nestle certainly makes the very best chocolate.
And now, our Space Patrol adventure, The Shadow of Chardu. Commander Corey has discovered that agents from the planet Dargida near the star Antares are secretly at work in the solar system searching for a jeweled crown. Of the two known agents from Dargida, one has been captured. The other, Orkan, escaped from Earth. Buzz fears Orkan will try to locate the one man in the United Planets who may know the whereabouts of the crown, the archaeologist Howard Sterndorf. So far, the commander has been unable to contact the scientist to warn him of the danger he faces at the hands of the ruthless intruders from Darjita. Right now, Buzz and Happy are in the commander's office at Terra headquarters.
Well, there's one thing in our favor. If we can't find Sterndorf, then neither can Orcon.
You forget, Happy, we don't know how big an organization Darjita may have in our solar system. The would-be emperor, Chardu, may have agents everywhere.
We sure didn't find out much from the one we captured, this Torzak. Not even with a brain of them.
These men from Darjita have tremendous control over the minds. This mental power, psych forces, they call it, enables them to perform incredible feats of strength.
Yeah, we sure found that out the hard way. What I can't understand, sir, is why a super smart race of people would put so much value in a crown. Why couldn't Chardu be emperor without it?
I don't know enough about Darjita to answer that.
I don't see how we're going to protect Sterndorf, even if we do find him before Orcon does. Unless we keep Sterndorf a prisoner for his own protection.
There's just one way to protect Sterndorf from the agents of Darjita. That's to make him useless to Chardu and his spies.
And how can we do that? If Sterndorf knows where the crown is, he can...
Excuse me. Commander Corey here. Yes, Captain. Fine. Lowell City? Good. He doesn't know why I want to see him. Well, don't tell him. Just keep him there. It won't be long. I'll blast off immediately. Corey out. Hap, Howard Sterndorf is on Mars. Captain Walden in our Lowell City headquarters got a bright hunch and checked with the curator of the Lowell City Museum.
That's a break. Now we can get to him before Orcon does.
Let's get to the spaceport.
Meantime, in the spaceship traveling between Earth and the planet Venus, Orcon, agent from the planet Darjita, contacts his leader, Chardu, near the star Antares, 170 light years from the solar system.
I should reach Venus in about 2 hours, Chardu.
And that's just where the crown is?
I cannot be sure. I do know that the scientist who found the crown in the Janapi ruins lives in Venus City. It shouldn't be difficult to locate him. Once I find Howard Sterndorf, I will force him to tell me where to find the crown of Darjita.
I am somewhat concerned, Orcon. Have you contacted Agent Torzak recently?
No, Chardu. I saw no necessity for it.
I have tried repeatedly to reach him. He does not answer. His last report is long overdue.
When did you last hear from Torzak?
Shortly after you left the desert region. He told me he had this Commander Corey and the cadet Happy under control.
That is true, Chardu. When I left, Corey and the cadet were still dazed from the weakening effect of my psych force.
Suppose they succeeded in overpowering Torzak.
That's impossible.
Then why hasn't Torzak reported? Until I learn differently, I must operate on the theory that they did escape. We must change our plans immediately.
But Chardu...
We must run no unnecessary risks. If Corey has escaped from Torzak, then he will attempt to warn the scientist, Miss Sterndorf. He will also alert the Venus authorities to watch for you.
Should I return to Torzak's place in the Earth's desert?
No. Contact Roder, one of our agents on Terra. He can determine whether Corey is back in action.
And if he is?
Corey is the greatest obstacle to the recovery of the crown of Darjita. He must be destroyed.
In a hotel room in Lowell City on the planet Mars, Buzz and Happy confer with the elusive scientist Howard Sterndorf.
Let me ask you a question. Didn't you explore the Janapi ruins on Earth?
Yes, last year. But it wasn't a very complete exploration. I was called back to Venus to take over some classes at the university.
Did you find a jeweled crown in the ruins?
Why, yes, I did. Very strange, too. It just didn't belong among those Indian artifacts.
You're right, it didn't.
We know where that crown came from.
You do?
Where? From a planet near the star Antares. It was stolen 1,000 years ago, brought to Earth, and hidden in those ruins.
That's why you're in danger.
Just a minute. If this is one of those tiresome legends about an ancient curse, you can forget it.
This is serious, Professor. Where is that crown?
Back at the Venus City University.
Locked in a vault, I suppose.
My goodness, no. It's on the shelf in my office.
In plain sight?
Of course.
The restoration of an empire hinges on that crown. Agents from Darjita are in the solar system right now, and they'll do anything to get it back.
Well, why not give it to them? If it's theirs.
We can't be sure it's all they want. We'll never know who their agents are unless they reveal themselves by making attempts to get that crown.
All right. Interstellar politics is out of my line. I'll give you the crown, and you can lock it up.
That won't work with these spies.
No, Professor. No secret is safe from them. They've got something they call a psych force.
They can produce a mental energy that can overpower our own self-control. I know. One of them made me tell them your name.
And they can concentrate that power in physical energy. When they want to, they're as strong as 10 men.
Now, here's our problem. Either you or I must know where the crown is. Yet we must be able to produce it on short notice in case we have to.
Well, that's quite a dilemma. How would it work if I gave it to a friend and asked him to hide it?
Oh, the Darjeta agent could easily make you tell the name of your friend.
Then your friend would be on the spot.
What we need is a way of not letting our left hand know what our right hand is doing.
Exactly. Here's my suggestion. Each of us will make a list of 20 men we can trust. That's 40. Then envelopes will be prepared and addressed to each of these 40 men. There will be no return address on any envelope. 39 of them will contain blank pieces of paper, or perhaps a circular, anything, it doesn't matter.
And the 40th envelope?
That will contain a letter over my signature, asking that person to go immediately to your office, get the crown, and hide it, without telling anyone. The person receiving the instructions will be asked to send a letter to the secret documents section at Space Patrol headquarters in town.
Gee.
Now, on the outside of the envelope will be a file number. Inside will be the man's name, nothing else. That envelope will be filed without being opened.
Then can I go to Venus?
Not until I get word from the secret documents section that a letter with a certain file number has arrived from Venus City. That'll be proof that our plan worked and the crown is safely hidden.
Nearly 2 days later, in a hotel on Terra, Professor Sterndorf impatiently awaits word from Commander Corey that he can return to his work at the Venus City University. As the hours drag on, he nervously paces the floor, muttering to himself.
Commander Corey overestimates these Darjeta people. Wasting all this time when I could be... that's the commander. And high time, too. Well, I was wondering... Oh, hello.
Professor Sterndorf?
Yes. What can I do for you?
I'd like to come in, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm rather busy.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, just a minute, young man.
It shouldn't take very long. You're certainly a hard man to find. I heard you were in Lowell City, but by the time I got there, you'd left for Terra. However, what's the matter, Professor?
I don't know. Suddenly, I felt a trifle dizzy.
Think nothing of it. I usually have that effect on people.
Who are you? What do you want?
It doesn't matter who I am. You took a jeweled crown from the Zanapi ruins on the planet Earth. Where is it?
You're a Darjeta agent.
Where is the crown?
I don't know.
Don't lie to me. Eventually, you're going to have to tell the truth. You'll save yourself much mental torture if you stop fighting your impulse to answer. Where is it?
I am telling you the truth. I don't know where the crown is.
Does Corey have it?
No.
Who did you give it to?
I don't know.
Then you did give it to someone, didn't you?
I don't know.
You must be telling the truth, but your answers don't make any sense. Corey sent someone to get it.
Yeah.
Getting someone. Who did he send?
I don't know.
Are you expecting someone?
Yes. Commander Corey. That's probably who that is.
What's he coming here for?
Well, most likely to take me to Venus.
To get the crown?
No. Neither of us knows where the crown is.
I'm stepping into the next room. Answer the door, but get rid of Corey. Tell him you don't need an escort to Venus. Do as I say. Wait till I get out of sight.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hi, Professor Sterndorf.
Good afternoon.
Everything has worked out fine, Professor. We'll take you to Venus as soon as you're ready.
I'm not ready to return yet. I have found a few matters of interest here on Terra. When I attend to them, I can return to Venus by myself. I do not need an official escort. Good day, gentlemen.
The Professor...
Happy the Professor knows his own mind. Very well, Professor. Thanks for your cooperation. Come on.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
What's come over, Professor? Didn't his attitude seem kind of strange to you?
Yes, he seems to be acting under pressure. There's someone in there with him that will pick him by surprise.
Darjeta agents.
I'll pick them off guard before they have a chance to generate super strength with the sight force.
Then you're going back?
Yes, sir. Professor, where is he?
Right here, Corey. Come on, the door's on. You shouldn't have done that.
It's their fault I had to knock them out. They stormed in here ready for trouble. It would have been difficult to overpower them with mind energy. All right, Professor. Bring me a sheet and a belt.
What are you going to do?
Tie them up. I'll have Boulder come here and revive them. You're coming with me to Venus.
But the commander and Cadet Happy. Who is Boulder?
Another Dargita agent. And if they don't tell us where the crown is, Boulder will show them that the psych force can be more torture than a severe beating.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, how's your morning tempo? Do you go around like this? Or are you the kind who speeds through school and chores like this? Well, I bet you the difference is breakfast. Yes, sirree, a good big breakfast topped off by a good big cup of Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa can make all the difference in the universe. Breakfast eaters are never slow starters nor mid-morning slumpers either, because they get the pep and go they need to last clear through. And let me tell you, when you have Nestle's Cocoa with your breakfast, you're treating yourself fine. The flavor's so rich and chocolatey and delicious, just like those sensational Nestle's chocolate bars. Another thing, Nestle's is the only instant cocoa that contains rich whole milk and sugar. That's where the pep comes from. And, of course, Nestle's is so easy to fix, you can do it yourself in no time. Just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in your cup and add hot water. Easy? Why, you never saw anything simpler. Good? Well, you just take a big swallow, and you'll say it's the greatest. And, boy, wait and see how you speed through the morning just like this. Remember, ask Mom for Nestle's Ever-Ready in the bright red box. It's chocolate, rich, and wonderful. It's Nestle's. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Shadow of Chardu. Commander Corey knows that agents from Dargita with their specially trained brains can generate a psych force strong enough to make any ordinary person reveal any fact that he knows. Was therefore worked out a plan so the crown of Dargita can be hidden by an unknown third party. Thus, neither Buzz nor Professor Sterndorf have any direct knowledge of where the crown is or who has it. But Agent Orcon captured the professor and knocked Buzz and Happy unconscious. The two space patrolmen come to their senses in the professor's hotel room on Terra to find themselves securely bound by strips of sheet torn from the bed.
I think I'm getting it, Hap. The strands of sheet around my wrists are beginning to give. I'm not making any headway with mine. Orcon used too much of his super strength in tying me. He pulled the knot so hard he weakened the fabric. Commander, someone's at the door. I'll step out of sight and keep my vigilant privacy.
Wow. I was beginning to think nobody was ever going to come. Get me loose, will you?
Take it easy. Where's the commander? Orkan said he had both of you tied together.
Right here. Oh, that was a beauty, Commander.
I had to get him quick before he got his psych force into gear.
You sure did. But he's completely out. He can't tell us where Orkan is.
That's why I release you. We'll get him to headquarters. If we can get him under a brainograph before he completely recovers, we might find out plenty.
Far from the regular space lanes, a private cruiser follows a vector toward the planet Venus. Orcon checks the viewscopes carefully, then makes spaceophone contact with Chardu on the remote planet Dargita.
I have captured Professor Sterndorf Chardu. He is locked in a compartment of the ship.
What about Corey?
By now, Boulder probably has Corey and the cadet well under control.
Why didn't you take Corey with you when you had the chance?
I was compelled to use physical force, Chardu. It would have taken too much time to wait for them to regain consciousness, so that I could control their actions by psych force, as I did the professor.
I see. What about the crown?
Sterndorf seems to have no knowledge of where it is.
But you told me...
Please, Chardu, please. There is nothing to worry about. Corey and Sterndorf together must have knowledge of the crown. I can work on Sterndorf while Boulder handles Corey.
And with Sterndorf under your control, you can force Corey to be more cooperative.
Exactly. You will have to give me the crown to save the professor's life.
Where are you going now?
To Venus. In all probability, the crown is somewhere on that planet. I can operate from Venus City location number 3.
You must fly on the ground without delay or cut. Proceed to Venus.
Several million VUs away, the Terra 5 also follows a vector toward the planet Venus.
We got more information on the voter than I expected, Commander.
Well, at least we know where Orcon is taking Professor Sterndorf.
Well, Orcon must realize by now that Sterndorf hasn't the slightest idea where the crown is or who has it.
Yes, but the Professor's in a tough spot. Orcon will probably keep him as a hostage to force us to hand over the crown.
Yeah, but we don't know where it is either, unless we trace that letter through the secret documents section and find out the name inside.
May have to do that to save Sterndorf from torture.
With Professor Sterndorf completely dominated by the psych force, Orcon brings his spaceship through the space lock of the Venus City atmosphere shell. Then, by an indirect route in a surface car, he brings his captive to a thick-walled building in the manufacturing section of the city.
Now, Sterndorf, as you can see, we aren't likely to be disturbed here. The wisest thing you can do is to tell me how to find the crown of Darjida.
I've told you before. I don't know.
I've been very gentle with you up to now, Professor. You have a fine mind by solar system standards. It would be a pity to damage it permanently. So stop resisting me.
I tell you, I'm not...
Come, if you don't care about yourself, think of Corey and the cadet. You can save them from a very horrible fate by telling me what steps Corey took to conceal the crown. Very well. You leave me no other choice. Chardu's signal. Perhaps Corey is already cracked. I knew it wouldn't take Voder long to get the information. Agent Orcon here, Chardu.
Orcon, Corey has escaped from Voder.
What? That's impossible.
I received a report from another Terra agent. Corey and the cadet blasted off from Terra on a Venus orbit.
What about Voder?
He has not reported. Very likely Corey has him locked up at headquarters. There's no telling how much information Corey got from him with their brainogram.
I still have Sterndorf. Corey won't dare do anything to endanger the professor.
Don't tell me what Corey will do. You keep telling me that the people of the solar system are weak, that they're powerless against our psych force. Well, Corey has captured two of our agents, Torzak and Voder. You are probably next.
No, he'll never take me.
He won't if you obey my instructions. He must never reach Venus.
How can I stop him?
The thought radiation unit on your spaceport. You know the standard space patrol frequency.
But Chardu projecting the psych force by spaceophone, it's a tremendous strain on my mind. It's painful, exhausting.
But you have exercised partial control over Corey before. Receptivity has already been established.
I know, but I can't be sure I can project a command over such a distance. Even when it's amplified by the thought radiation unit, it could be distorted, diffused.
Do not project a complex command. A simple, strong, non-action impulse is all you need.
Non-action impulse?
Yes. Soon Corey will approach the Venus City atmosphere shell. To enter the space lock, he and the cadets will have to perform certain specific actions. Your psych force will inhibit these actions.
Yes, it might work at that.
It has to work. From what you've told me before, the protective systems of these atmosphere shells. Well, we will be rid of Corey for good. Hurry. Put on the thought protection unit and start transmitting.
We're on vector for the Venus City atmosphere shell, sir.
Fine, Hap. You bring it through the locks. Better cut off velocity.
Yes, sir. That's strange. The controls won't respond.
Try it again. There's the automatic warning from Space Control. Our approach is too fast. Accelerate, quick.
I can't, sir. The nose rockets won't fire.
Cut our tail rockets.
Well, nothing happens. We're still accelerating.
Then change vector. Do it quick or we'll crash into the planet.
Yes, sir. The controls are frozen. I can't fire starboard or port rockets.
Put on automatic landing control. The emergency circuits may take hold.
Yes, sir. Well, that doesn't work either. Smoking rockets, we're going to crash right into the heart of Venus City.
Listen to that automatic warning. The electronic protective system in Venus City is getting ready to launch a guided missile at us. We'll be blown up before we hit the shell.
Those beats are speeding up.
When they merge into one note, we'll have reached the critical point. Hap, try the forward rockets again. Press the control.
I did, sir.
You put your finger on it, but you didn't press it. Here, let me try it. Hap, there's nothing wrong with the controls. It's us.
But
the psych force. Something's controlling our actions.
It doesn't feel that way, sir.
We can do anything but decelerate the ship. Orcon must be using his psych force by remote control. The spaceophone, I'll cut it off.
Now we can't hear the warning.
Try the controls quickly. Fire port rockets.
It worked. It worked. We're changing vector.
Let's hope we swerve quick enough. Full repel array.
We're zooming in awfully close to the ground.
You'll make another approach to the city, huh? This time an automatic landing control.
Orcon must have been transmitting a sight force by spaceophone.
Yes. Otherwise, we'd have been blown to bits by now.
Well, I guess it's better to destroy a ship than to crash into a city. I could have sworn I was pressing those controls.
The sight force is a powerful weapon. We've got to round up every Darjita agent in the solar system. And we'll start with Orcon.
In his Venus City hideout, Orcon slumps in front of the spaceophone, completely exhausted. Still, he keeps a wary eye on his captive, Professor Sterndorf.
I would have to go through that again. Feel as though I'd been physically beaten.
You have killed Commander Corey.
Yes, Professor. By now, the commander's ship has reached the electronic defense barrier over the atmosphere shell. And he's been blown to atoms. Let that be a lesson to anyone who opposes Darjita.
By destroying Corey, you ruined your only chance to get the crown.
If that is true, then you are no longer of any use to me. Yes. You are now in the way.
What are you going to do? Take your hands off me.
It won't do you any good to struggle, Professor. In a moment, it will all be over.
Let go of him, Orcon. Corey! I'll take care of him. Have you help the professor. Commander, he's going for his ray gun.
No, he isn't.
Keep him company.
Yes, sir.
Are you all right, Professor?
Yes, Commander. But if you'd been a moment later...
You'll get Orcon to a brainograph before he builds up his mental resistance. You can probably tell us who some of the other Darjita agents are.
You won't get anything out of me, Cook. Chardu of Darjita will see that I am liberated.
Come on, Orcon. Let's go.
There is Chardu calling me now.
Forget it.
Very well. When I don't answer, he'll know I'm in trouble and send other agents to help.
He was right, Commander.
That gives me an idea. All right, Orcon. Talk to your boss. Go ahead. Say anything you like.
Do you mean that?
Answer it.
You've got some trick in mind. You think you'll learn something about the Darjita master plan?
All right, don't answer it, but make up your mind.
Very well. But you won't learn anything. Agent Orcon, here is Chardu.
I'm surprised that you answered, Orcon.
Chardu, listen. Be careful what you say.
Silence, Orcon. I have just heard of the failure of your plan to destroy Corey's spaceship.
That's what I wanted to explain.
Silence. Do not interrupt. Repeated busting means only one thing. You are a traitor. You are working with my enemies.
That's not true. I'm loyal to you, Chardu.
Protect me from such loyalty. Henceforth, you will be regarded as a traitor of Darjita. I have ordered certain agents in the solar system to give you the treatment we reserve for traitors. Goodbye, Orcon.
Chardu, listen to me, please. That's the way he repays me for my faithfulness. Commander, you've got to protect me. You don't have any idea how vicious Chardu can be.
Oh, don't we? You've given us some pretty good demonstrations.
Come on, Orcon. We'll see that nothing happens to you for a long time to come.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Say, Commander, take a look at these drawings for the new type spacesuits. See here? Energy restoration units built right in. Pretty cosmic, huh?
I've got a better energy restorer and builder right here. What's more, it tastes good.
You couldn't be talking about anything but good old Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa, I'll bet.
Half you go to the head of the clan. Nestle's Cocoa is the hot drink all space patrollers need to make them peppy and keep them peppy. So delicious, too. Just packed with the rich, true chocolate flavor of Nestle's chocolate bar. And that's the best chocolate there is.
Nestle's is so easy to make, too. Just 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in the cup, add hot water, and it's ready. Smoking rockets, let's not stand here talking about it. Let's have some.
Roger. Let's everybody have a big, delicious cup of Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa. And Nestle's is the one with the real chocolate flavor. That's Nestle's in the bright red can.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on the planet Darjita, pursued by a band of Chardu's agents.
They're gaining on us, sir.
We're nearly at the top of the ridge. Then it'll be downhill to the ship.
It's lucky for us they don't have any weapons.
Chardu probably gave them orders to take us alive.
From what we know of him, that isn't going to be any picnic.
If we can keep this lead, we'll be safe.
Wow, they have got weapons.
Here's the top of the ridge. Now a final spurt to the ship and...
Smoking rockets, Commander, look. Our ship is gone.
Be with us next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, Planet of Discord. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, and Bela Kovach. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Eveready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.